And Damon Hill only has to keep going to be world champion of 1994, but can he keep going?
30 years ago, I arrived in Adelaide after one of the most dramatic, controversial and tragic Formula One seasons, with a chance to become world champion. This is the story of the 1994 Australian Grand Prix. In only my second full season of Formula One, I had been thrust into the role of team leader at the Williams Formula One team after the harrowing death of my teammate Ayrton Senna. From that moment, the championship became a battle between myself and the young German Benetton driver, Michael Schumacher, both with the opportunity to become world champion for the first time. I had arrived in Adelaide on a high. Only 4 days earlier, I had won the Japanese Grand Prix in a thrilling duel with Michael in torrential rain.
3.36 seconds! Damon Hill wins the Japanese Grand Prix!
In so doing, I cut Michael's lead to a single point with just one round left.
So now the showdown for 1994, the championship decider.
World champion for tomorrow, Schumacher or Hill?
Oh, Schumacher. No worries.
Damon Hill, I think, personally.
Schumacher.
I'd say Damon Hill.
Schumacher.
If you win on Sunday, you'll be a new king of Germany, the first one.
We talk about this on Sunday evening.
Michael and you, do you have contact here in between the days, talk to each other, or you prefer to stay separate?
I haven't seen Michael, no, but I'm sure we'll bump into each other somewhere.
So the tension must have been getting to Michael. He had a bit of a crash on the Friday, going through the Senna chicanes.
Oh!
In those days, qualifying was over 2 days, and Nigel was the fastest on the Friday, ahead of Michael and myself. On Saturday, the heavens opened, so there was no way to improve our times, meaning I would be starting one place behind Michael for the race.
And in some 2 hours' time, there'll be a new world champion.
Sitting on the grid, the tension was obviously very high. I was directly behind Nigel Mansell, but all my attention was on Michael Schumacher. Beat him, and I'd become Formula One world champion.
Australia is go! Mansell slides away. We're with Hakkinen, Damon Hill on the left. Schumacher leads. Schumacher leads at the first corner. Damon Hill has gone ahead of Nigel Mansell.
At the start, Nigel got too much wheel spin, and in a flash, Michael and I were straight past him and immediately at it, setting fastest lap after fastest laps apiece, and we both pulled away from the field. This was going to be an intense private battle for glory between us. At times, I was a mere foot from his tail, and I was telling myself this was Suzuka all over again. By now, we were already lapping cars, even though it was only quarter distance, and on lap 22, I was bored trying to get past a pair of back markers, and Michael eked out a small gap of a couple of seconds. With Adelaide being a street circuit full of left and right-hand corners, occasionally Michael would disappear out of view. And so it happened on lap 36, after I'd taken a second out of his lead, and he cracked under pressure.
Schumacher's off. Schumacher's lost time. Yeah! Hill goes by.
Michael had hit the wall and damaged his car, but crucially, I hadn't seen it. So when I came around the corner, all I saw was Michael rejoining the track. This was my opportunity. I had to take it.
Oh, out goes Schumacher. The German is out of the Australian Grand Prix.
Michael was out on the spot, but as I continued, I could see my left front suspension was damaged. As Patrick Head tried to bend the suspension straight with his bare hands, I knew my race was done and my championship was gone. A whole mixture of emotions ran through my mind. Despair, pride, and a weird relief that this bittersweet season was over. But there was no anger. In my head, I hadn't apportioned any blame to Michael. But at that point, Barry Sheen emerged, grabbing my arm and telling me I needed to see the incident. I watched in amazement as Michael hit the wall. I had had no idea his car was damaged, but Barry was instead pointing out Michael's head movements that seemed to indicate that he could see me coming down the inside.
That's motor racing. I'm afraid that going into the last race with 1 point deficit to Michael is always going to be, unfortunately, putting you in the position where you've got everything to lose. Well, I couldn't win in that sort of situation.
I had to accept the result, but a large part of me felt that this was a tainted championship anyway after we lost Ayrton. Everyone had felt that loss, including Michael, but at least I could be satisfied that I had given my best for Williams and for Ayrton. I'd never been in a battle for a Formula One World Championship before, and I must admit I found it extremely stressful, especially with Imola and the fallout from all of that. There were some good bits though, like winning the British Grand Prix, and I felt like I'd gone up another level in my driving that would set me up for the coming season. But Formula One is never that simple.
Well, Damon, that was a lovely feature. Do you still reflect back on 1994? Does it trouble you?
Well, I get asked this the whole time. Fans come up. It's one of the first questions I get asked is 94. How did you get over that? How did you feel about it? What actually happened? And I honestly can say that at the time you're in the thick of it. You're not really aware of the effect it's having on everyone. But clearly it's affected everyone else more than it's affected me, because I seem to have got over it. I accepted the result. There was nothing I could do about it. And we put up a good effort. And of course, in the context of everything else that happened in 94, what's losing a race, you know, or a world championship?
Did he have you off on purpose?
This is the other question they keep asking me. How do I know, Martin? What do you think? You're the expert.
Almost certainly. Yes, I do. Now, the race in Suzuka just before that was probably your finest ever race of your career?
Absolutely. I never drove to that level. I think I had to drive to that level to stay in the game and beat Michael and keep the championship alive. So very difficult conditions, as you know, and I was right out there on the very edge of what I could do to perform. And if I'm honest, I never drove quite to that intensity ever again, but maybe I didn't have to.
Gave you a chance, though, didn't it, to to take the fight to him in that final round. Thank you from my perspective, because it put me on the podium. I finished third that day.
Well, I like to be able to handle, some of my finest failures have been passed on to the other British drivers like Johnny and yourself. So anyway, well done for you.
So I've got an admission. They did a vox pop on the way into the circuit that day, and they were asking people, including me, who they thought were going to win the World Championship, and I said Michael.
Well, that's very unsupporting of you, isn't it? A lack of confidence there in my prospects. But I wouldn't have blamed you, frankly. I mean, everyone expected Michael to do it. He was ahead of me on the grid, and Nigel was as well. So, the chances of me repeating Suzuka, probably on balance, you were putting your money in the right place. And actually, did you put any money on it?
No, absolutely not.
Well, you would have won something.
Okay, I need to head off towards the grid, but well done on a lovely feature.